In this lesson, we're going to go over a lot of the acronyms used in our industry. Okay, so I divided them into sections because a lot of them are not specific to just software testing. They're acronyms that you're going to hear throughout your career in this industry. So here we go. Let's start with the testing types and methods. QA, quality assurance. QC, quality control. Now, I've had both of these in the past. I I used to work for Chevron, and they would refer to the quality team as QC only. There was no QA. Okay, you were the QC manager, the QC tester. So there's no standard, right? It all depends on the company and what they want to use. UAT, user acceptance testing. SIT, system integration testing. E2E, end to end. That one's quite popular. You'll hear that a lot. BVT, build verification test. A lot of these are you'll people won't talk, like they won't say it while they're talking. They'll just say it while they're writing, or you'll see it in Jira or someplace else like that. I'll let you know the ones that you'll hear like people talk. QA is one of them. People say, "Oh, I got a QA that." Doesn't make sense because it's not a verb, but people will say that. Um, SVT, system verification testing. TDD, test driven development, and BDD, behavior driven development. Those two, they will say the acronym. At this company, we do BDD. You'll hear that during interviews and stuff. Then we got the test artifacts. STD, STD, software test documentation. STP, software test plan. STR, software test report. RTM, requirements traceability matrix. I forgot to bold that. TC, test case. TS, test suite. TR, test run or test report. And TP, test plan. These are some of the ones that usually you'll see written. People won't really say them when they're talking. Next, we got for automation and DevOps, CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous deployment. Definitely very used. IDE, integrated development environment. That's one of those acronyms that people just use the acronym. They'll never say the full thing. Same with API, application programming interface. They'll just say the acronym, not the actual word. For defects and reporting, we got bug report, BR for bug report, or business requirement. CR, change request. That one I've seen developers will be like, oh, did the client want a CR? So you'll see that quite a bit. FR, functional requirement. NFR, non-functional requirement. These are not very popular. KPI, key performance indicator, very popular. Again, people also just use the acronym in that case. MTTR, mean time to resolution. Never used that one before, by the way. In accessibility, people call it Ally. Really, it's A11Y, but that one is used quite a bit. WCAG, Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. That one that I usually say WCAG. Some people say the WCAG, and some will say WCAG. But that one will always people will always go with the acronym. VPAT, Voluntary Product Accessibility Template. Now, the VPAT, that's a standardized document used by vendors to outline how their products or services meet accessibility standards, particularly Section 508. So basically, the VPAT is a template for creating an accessibility conformance report, which is an ACR, which is the next one. But I don't think I went over VPAT in the accessibility course. So I'm letting you know right now. Basically, it's just a template for creating the accessibility conformance report, which is ACR, and it demonstrates how well a product conforms to the accessibility requirements. Then we have the ACR, the accessibility conformance report 508, which is the short version for Section 508 compliance. And then we have ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act. Again, these are not specifically to software testing, but it is especially ADA, that is a civil rights law that prohibits discrimination against individuals with disabilities. So it's very important because lawsuits often reference WCAG as the benchmark for compliance. Now we have some under titles and roles like SDET, Software Development Engineer and Test. You hear this one a lot, especially if you're looking for work. A lot of people are looking for STETs nowadays, which is basically a developer that also tests. SQA, software quality assurance. I remember a coworker once was very confused when I said I was an SQA analyst, and she said, why do you say SQA analyst? Because the A is already there for analyst." And I said, "No, that the A there is not for analyst; it's for assurance because QA is not quality analyst; it's quality assurance." So just keep that in mind. Some people confuse the A in QA with analyst, and that's not what it's there for. SET is a software engineer and test. There's also STE, software test engineer. Same thing. People just mix the letters. Like I said, it all depends on the company and what they use. Every company has its own lingo. Dev for the developer, QAA quality assurance analyst, QE quality engineer, MTE manual test engineer, BA is the business analyst. You see that one a lot, and SM is the scrum master. You also see that one quite a few times during your role. So these are all the acronyms that I could think of, and some I Googled, some I've never heard of, but get familiarized with all of them and you'll do just fine.